Hello, this is Darice, and welcome back to Moon Life Astro. And if you're new, welcome. On this channel, we talk about astrology, planning with the astrological transits, and the cycles of the moon. Today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming full moon in Sagittarius. This will be happening June 11th. It's a few days right before Father's Day in the United States, June 15th. So I think this full moon is a great opportunity to release some father wounds and also just general family healing, ancestral lineage issues, especially since Jupiter has just moved into Cancer. And it's a great opportunity, that year-long transit, to work on those issues. And I think that the full moon, which is often about releasing as well as culmination, celebrating what's come to pass in the past 6 months. But my intuition is this particular full moon is really more about release, and I'll get into the details of that. But again, like I said, I want to welcome you to the channel. Please do remember to like the video. Please subscribe to my channel if you've not already done so. That does help me get the message out to more people. And with that, we'll just dive right in. Like I said, this full moon in Sagittarius, I want to talk about healing the father wound, ancestral patterns, and how Jupiter and Cancer can support that work, and also just how to work with this energy practically and spiritually. And I'll also still, of course, give you some information and tips on how to maybe use some of this energy as well for some planning and productivity stuff for your business. Now, this full moon, June 11th, 2025, full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius, it can be about illumination of the truth. It can also help us. Sagittarius is often about adventure, travel, people usually associated with that, life of the party, fun information. But I think what often gets missed with Sagittarius energy is that play is actually really key to our spiritual growth and development. So there's a lot of wisdom in Sagittarius. And I think this full moon is an invitation for us to tap into that aspect of it. And Sagittarius can also govern our philosophies and how we look at things from a certain perspective. And I think that's why travel is often associated with Sagittarius as well, because when you travel to different places, different lands, different cultures, you learn more about yourself and where you're from in that contrast. And by seeing how other people do things, how they do things differently, how they live differently. And so this Sagittarius and full moon, this can be an opportunity to look at how you want to do things differently in your family lineages, your family ancestry, that sort of thing. Right, I was just reaching for my fan. Getting a little warm. I'm on the East Coast and it's June, lots of humidity. It is what it is. It's all good. But again, a great opportunity for emotional release and insight, especially around inherited belief systems. And this is also an opportunity to look at just fatherhood as an archetype, patriarchy. Of course, Sagittarius is fire energy, inspired action. So this is something to bring that energy in as well. So let's look at the father wound. It's not just about your biological father. Like I said, it can also be about our relationship to patriarchy, how our systems are set up by patriarchy, our relationship to authority, structure, our experience of provider roles. If you're a masculine and you want to be a provider, what has that been like for you? What is the wounding around that? Even as someone who's a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, or an aspiring entrepreneur, what do you want your role as a provider to look like? What do you want your vision or mission or purpose to be like from that perspective? How do you want to show up as a leader? These are questions that we can bring to the surface as we play with that full moon energy. It often builds about 3 days before the full moon. So you could use those days leading up to the full moon to consider that. As a solopreneur, maybe your father wound shows up as feeling overly responsible. Maybe it's about pressure to prove your worth. Or maybe there's something around the fear of failure, about being seen. What is that like for you? How does your relationship with your father or the father figures that raised you, how is that showing up for you in your life? How is that showing up for you in your business? What does that look like? And then also look at your relationships to prior authority figures, at different work situations in your career, and your reaction to that, your rebellion to those relationships. Is that still driving a part of how you show up for your business or other areas of your life? I think this full moon in Sagittarius is a great opportunity to look at those issues. Also, did you come from an environment where your father was about, you had to hustle to prove that you were valid? Or was there an absent father figure? You know, often if you lose a father through death, divorce, or abandonment, what does that look like? How is that showing up? You know, and these can be very difficult things to look at and face. And I'm not saying you have to handle it all this week around this full moon. It could just be an invitation to dig a little deeper as you do that shadow work around those issues, you know, as you're working with your mental health professionals, your therapists, and also as you're doing body work, maybe around those things. Maybe some of those unhealed wounds are coming to the surface as a result of the energy work or the body work that you're doing. Or it could be an invitation to create a space to look at those things. One particular prompt might be, who taught you that safety equals control? How is that playing out in your life? How is that playing out in your friendships, your romantic relationships? How is that playing out in your business? Is safety control? Or who taught you that safety equals control? Now, again, like I said, I wanted to face this with, have us take a look at this against the backdrop of Jupiter being in Cancer, entered Cancer today, June 9th, and it will be in Cancer until June 30th, 2026. Jupiter, of course, is expansion, blessings, wisdom. Cancer can represent our roots, our family, emotional security, and that maternal, paternal lineage. So during this transit, there could be a lot of emotional healing, especially generational, around our ancestral lineages. What do we want to carry forward into the future for future generations? And what I love about doing this kind of shadow work, it's like when you heal yourself, not only are you healing the current generation, as well as the generation, 7 generations forward, you're actually also healing 7 generations back. So this is really powerful work. And I feel like this full moon in Sagittarius is another opportunity to take a look at it from a different perspective, a different angle. Jupiter and Cancer in particular, this could be a great transit for looking at how do you want to redefine what home is to you, not only what home looks like physically, but what do you want it to feel like emotionally? What do you want that emotional safety to be, as well as the physical safety? And what kind of legacy do you want to create? From a solopreneur or entrepreneur perspective, it's also an invitation to create a nurturing business, one that honors your energy and your nervous system. This could be a great transit to plant seeds of that emotional safety and soulful success. In terms of productivity, this is a great opportunity to release the pressure around being someone who has to hustle. You know, are you overextending or overcommitting? This could be an opportunity, or things may come to the surface during this week that show you where you are overextending and overcommitting, and that you'll have to have a choice to decide if you want to continue to do that. Is there a healthier way to create boundaries around some of the demands that people are placing on you? This could also be an excellent opportunity to review your goals. Each full moon is usually a culmination of new intentions or seeds that you planted 6 months prior. So it's always a great opportunity to look at what's come to fruition in the past 6 months. What are you celebrating? What are you harvesting? And what are you releasing? And what does that look like for your business? Are there projects that no longer serve your business? Or are there projects you want to take to the next level? It could be a good opportunity to look at what some of the goals are for the next 6 months that you want to release as well. Patterns, projects, even potential clients. These are things to look at during full moon. And again, it's just a reminder that you don't have to prove your worth or your value through your business. Your legacy is not only what you build in your life, but it's how you live your life. Excuse me, sorry, my notes disappeared for a second there. So potential rituals or practices for this particular full moon, you could of course always journal, and you could also marry it with a fire ritual since Sagittarius is a fire sign. You could light a candle for your father or the father figures that raised you, or also just your masculine ancestors if you don't feel particularly close to your father or the father figures who raised you. And you could offer, well, first of all, you can write down anything you want to release in those relationships and then burn them or rip them up, throw them away. And then you could also offer gratitude, forgiveness, and release. You could actually talk to the ancestors that you need healing from along the father line. You could ask for their guidance on how to heal the masculine energy in yourself and in your family lineage. Like, ask for guidance on what is your role. That's actually something I think I'm going to do for myself, even though I was blessed to have a very loving father. But I know not everyone is blessed with that. And again, if that is your story, if that has been your experience, do what you need to do to take care of yourself, especially because Father's Day is coming up. You're probably seeing a lot of ads for Father's Day gifts and a lot of emails about Father's Day. And that can trigger a lot of people if they have an unhealed father wound. So be honest with yourself if that's what's coming up for you, and find a way to address those wounds in a healing manner. Find the support that you need, whether it is the therapist, the body workers, meditation, your spiritual community, even just really close friend if you need to process some of those feelings, some of those memories that's coming up around this time. Yes, Father's Day can be beautiful and a wonderful thing to celebrate if you had a healthy relationship with your father, but unfortunately, many people did not. And so I think it's an opportunity and invitation to address that wound, to begin to heal another level or layer of that father wound. And again, if your father is still alive and you don't have the best relationship with him, maybe there is a way to address that. Maybe you write a letter to your father or an email, and you may send it, you may not, only if that's best for you and the relationship and the dynamic. But it's something to consider. You could also just write the letter as a practice, as the kind of conversation you want to have with your father, either by or before the actual holiday or around the holiday itself. For some of you, that might be something to do. At the end of the day, check in with yourself, check in with your support team, and also check in with your spiritual support team, and decide what is the best next step for you in that healing. And I also just want to acknowledge if you are someone who is suffering from some type of father wound, I'm sending you love and compassion and encouraging you to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. Just always want to remind people to do that. Some crystals that you could work with around your full moon or the healing of the father wound ritual: black tourmaline, protection, Moonstone for ancestral healing, or Citrine for self-worth, or even a combination of those things. Perhaps you want to pull a tarot or oracle card, and the prompt that you could have with that tarot card or oracle card reading: what truth wants to liberate me now? What truth wants to liberate me now? What truth wants to liberate me now? The other option is you could use breath work, EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping. That might also be helpful as well to do around any of these father wound issues that may be coming to the surface for you now. Again, I wanted to look at what time, excuse me, I had it written down, and for some reason it's not right in front of me what time this actual full moon is going to be. Excuse me real quick. I took my glasses off because it was giving a weird reflection in the recording, but put them on real quick here. So this full moon is going to be June 11th, exact 3:43 a.m. Eastern in Sagittarius. I know some people like to have the exact time of the full moon. I'm actually always one of those people as well. But again, you feel the energy 3 days before most intensely, and then it kind of winds down about 3 days after. So if you are going to do a full moon ritual, you can either do it on the night or evening of the actual full moon, or you can even do it as early as those 3 days prior to the full moon, whatever works best for your schedule. So I always want to remind people of that as well. If you'd like, feel free to share in the comments what story you're ready to release. You could also share what legacy you want to choose to build or move forward towards. If you are going to do a full moon ritual, feel free to write that down, just full moon ritual in the comments. If you're comfortable, you could also share your full moon breakthroughs with people as well afterwards. And just basically, I just wanted to come in here, do this a really brief video about the upcoming full moon. Hopefully, you will take the opportunity to do whatever healing work you need to do. I will be coming out with this Wednesday's upcoming astrology video for the week as well. And again, I do appreciate everyone who visits the channel. I do appreciate the comments I get from people. And again, feel free to like the video if you are receiving value from it. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. That does help me get the message out to more people. And in the meantime, sending you much love, peace, and joy. Peacefully yours, Darius.